What's happening? Don't let T.I. talk to y'all for a second. And I'm watching, and I'm serious. All I gotta say is what up, man. What's up, man? You are tuned in now to Hoop Jargon Media Network, and we got a good show lined up for you. Now I know it's been a few days, but you know I'm always gonna come back and give you that uncut dope over here on the sports end. And shout out to my guy Rap God in the building early. Says T.I. legend, absolutely. So I got a special guest today, man, and I'm gonna bring up, man. It's a person I've known for the better part of 8 years or so. And without further ado, shout out to E Black in the building. Let's bring up Holly Heat. What's up, Holly?
Hey, what's up?
How you living?
I'm great.
There you go. Good camera, straight to the point.
I like to be concise. I like to be purposeful with my words,
Good. Well, okay, so for it's been a while since you've been on the channel. So for those who don't know who Holly Heat is, Holly Heat, tell the audience what you are and who you are and what you do.
I like to characterize myself as a sports personality. I don't try to market myself as some kind of sports expert, but I am really just a fan of different sports, an avid fan of different sports, and I have a lot of opinions about said sports. I'm very passionate about it. It's kind of my thing, So I think when you talk about me, I'm probably the person you're going to disagree with a lot.
Correct.
But,
Correct.
Yeah, especially you. But, that's not hard to do. But, So, I'm a female that watches sports, somewhat of an anomaly, but, we're coming up. We're coming up in the ranks, women being sports fans and stuff. But I tend to be more of a player-driven, personality, so to speak.
Okay.
And you and I have had our healthy debates in that regard.
Absolutely, doggone. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it, and we got some early action on the super chat tip. And shout out to No Guarantee said, get this party started. Hoop, yeah, man. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. And that gets you over here. And shout out to SKC, man. He got my updated money acknowledgement. So you the first one to grace this the stage, my guy. So here we go. Without further ado.
You know what I mean, boy. Yeah. Money. Yeah. Money. Yeah.
Bernie Mac and AJ Johnson, man. Rest in peace to both of those brothers, man. That's a classic movie. I don't care what nobody say. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. So shout out to No Guarantees for dropping 5 on it. So Holly, let's go ahead and get to the program. Let's not have the people waiting. So let's go on topic number 1. So of the former big 3 out in Brooklyn, we talking about Kevin Durant, we talking about Kyrie Irving, we talking about James Harden. Who do we think is going to be the first to win another championship? So I'll yield the floor to you, and you let me know what's up.
Oh man! So let me preface this by saying, full transparency, I was that believer in this big 3 right here. I was like, you know what? Early in the season, what was that? I guess 2 years ago that they got together. I was like, Brooklyn Nets, this is it. And obviously, it took a turn for the worse in a lot of ways. And it's just a conglomeration of talent does not always equal. Yeah. So, man, I don't know that I could put my finger on it, but I can tell you who it won't be, which is James Harden. It won't be James Harden.
Oh, hold on. I got to stop you there. Why not James Harden?
It gets a little cliche, these kind of like narratives about like him not like really wanting to win, but there's a preponderance of evidence that's like he kind of he wants to like go to work and like then not be at work. So it's just like I feel like it's more of a job for him. He's tremendously talented, like one of the best offensive players we've seen. However, he's not a team player, honestly, like, which is kind of the antithesis of what you need when you're playing basketball. And I know that, people said the same thing about, Kobe, of course, too. And like, I mean, it's just, it's like a difference when you constantly force yourself out of situations and you don't try to make it work. Like you're really just going where you want to go, where the wind takes you. And I just don't see it. And I mean, now he's trying to, he wants to go to the Clippers. Today, I think it was today, he took Philadelphia out of his bio. And, him and Derek Morey were like,
you just put your earbuds in?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's distorting the audio.
Okay. I didn't know if it was so echoey or not.
Yeah. No, the echo is better than the distortion.
Oh, okay.
If you can. There we go. We good.
Yeah. So, I mean, all three of these players are, I call them like the forced out kings, right? Like they're like the forced. They weren't the big three. They're like the forced out kings, the forced out trio. But James Harden, I feel like, has like no real like intention behind it. Like I could kind of see like intention behind the other ones, but James Harden, I'm kind of like, what are you doing? Like Kyrie, he went with Luka, who is one of my favorite players to watch in the league. Obviously, it didn't pan out very well for last year.
White.
And then KD came in and went to Phoenix, which has already been like in contention for a few years now. So it's like, I feel like there was intention behind it, but James Harden, it's just like, what is your plan here? Like, what's your goal?
Yeah. Well, so here's my thing, man. Since we started on James Harden, I want to evaluate each player on their own merit. And my whole thing with James Harden is this. I've made no bones about how I'm not a big fan of James Harden. It's because he has no counterpunch to a defense's, what a defense throws at him. So he has basically he has two things: step back three, hard dribble drive left. He has nothing else. And we're talking about James Harden being year like 13 or something like that. Like you should have a counter to the counter to the counter. Because if we're being honest, about 3 years ago, people were comparing him to the likes of like one Kobe Bryant, and quiet as kept, the Michael Jordan ilk, right? So if you're gonna be mentioned amongst those guys, I'm gonna evaluate as such. And what I've seen from James Harden is you basically got two moves and you got nothing else. And now I'll give him credit. His last year, in Philadelphia, he embraced his facilitation as much as he ever done. And because, he has a great big man with him, the reigning MVP, your boy Joe Embiid. So I'll give him credit for that. But as far as championship level basketball, that man ain't gonna deliver nothing for you. And it's been consistent. He'll get you to the promised land, i.e. the playoffs and a high seed, but he can't deliver past that point. And it's just like, to me, James Harden, man, Tigers don't change their stripes. And that's why I'm on Russell Westbrook so hard too. Those guys are just going to be who they are, in my opinion. So, yes, I'm with you. James Harden is the first one I strike off that list. He would never win an NBA championship based on him.
And you know what? It almost made me eat my words because in this playoffs, I felt like he did better. But it was like his best game, I believe, was like the game that Embiid was out. And they did win, but it just kind of like it kind of speaks to like who he is as a player as well. It's just like, okay, again, they lost. So at the end of the day, it's about W's and L's, and they lost. But I just don't see like him going to the Clippers, not to take anything away from Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Like, I honestly kind of favored them going into last year, because I was like, if you got Kawhi back and Paul George back, like, I mean, something could really happen here.
Yes. You think that they would keep both of those guys though if James went over to Los Angeles? Because you would think that that maybe Philadelphia want one of those guys in return.
Right. And I mean, and Derek, Daryl Morey, even though, him and Harden are supposed to be buddy. He said we're not going to trade him for somebody that's not going to like push us forward. So, I mean, James Harden might end up not even playing. So, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to see that at all. It's kind of his MO. So.
Well, one way we know where he will be is at the strip club. That's what James Harden like to do. So.
Facts.
Shout out to E Black said James Harden equals Joe Johnson. I think he's a better version of Joe Johnson, but what you basically saying, they call Joe Johnson ISO Joe, meaning he's more about himself before the greater good, because it's just what his game is. And so I think that that's more true than not. He said, oh, Lord, not the early Westbrook. Listen, man, y'all can like Russell Westbrook all y'all want to, man, but I just sniffed this dude out a decade ago. It is what it is, goddamn.
Yeah, it is. I mean, at some point you have to kind of be like, yeah, okay. All right, I finally get it. Like, even me, and I am pro Westbrook, but
sorry, damn. 5 teams in 5 years tell you everything you know. Just saying. Okay, so let's move on to the next player in the paradigm of the Brooklyn trio that never was. Let's talk about Kyrie Irving, man. So Kyrie Irving has chosen to stay with the Dallas Mavericks, playing alongside Luka Doncic, as you alluded to. What is your projection of what he can do over there in that market?
I mean, I think I won't say I was surprised at them embracing him. And again, like what we know is embracing somebody or not embracing somebody is all kind of dictated by what we see in the media, right? Okay. So I didn't expect him to resign, to be honest with you. I was kind of in the thought process, like he's trying to get with LeBron and, get that back together. But I mean, he did. He re-signed, and it was a nice signing and so forth. But Kyrie has never struck me as like a overly like materialistic, like I'm just worried about getting paid. Like he's getting paid regardless. No matter the controversy or anything, people are captivated by him. So Kyrie and Luka, they're both very ball dominant players. And so it's kind of like they kind of have to figure that out. And nobody wins like the first year. Well, I don't know.
No,
I'm going to say that because of, Miami and so forth. But they definitely need to put some more pieces together. And obviously they're working on, or they made some trades. Obviously they got Grant Williams, and, I'm hearing stuff about possibly a Hawks trade with Capella to get some rim protection in there, rebounds and rim protection.
Yeah, that'd be a hell of an addition.
So let's see. If I would say out of the three,
Well, no, let's just keep it right here. So you said Kyrie Irving, based on what the Mavericks are doing right now.
Yeah.
So again, potentially going to get Clint Capella, building around the Luka Doncic paradigm. I guess from a scale of 1 to 10, how do you see him his chance to win a championship?
Scale of 1 to 10. I guess I would give it about a 7.
Okay, that's pretty.
I'm never going to rule out. It's really hard for me to rule out guys, like, even though I still consider Luka kind of new because I feel like he's young. Obviously, Kyrie's a little older, but I never can like bet against people like that.
Okay. I can.
I'm sure.
I mean, listen. I think Kyrie Irving happens to be one of my favorite players. Him and Luka Doncic, I like Luka Doncic a lot as well. But like you said, until they get rim protection, until they get another three who's going to kind of anchor that team, I just don't see them getting over the hump. Because Dallas has had this model of having these undersized guys and having like guys like Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah.
Score first guys. I just don't see it happening until they put a real championship team together. And as it's if the building block is Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, I don't think that's enough. A small point guard who is more about individualism, and then a guy like Luka, I mean, he's like a poor man's LeBron James as far as his skill set. I just think that style is antiquated. That may have worked 10 years ago. As it stands right now, I can't see it. So unless they put another piece in, it doesn't be a big name. It's just a need, a void field. So like you said, like Clint Capella, then that makes things interesting. But until they fill those little parts up, I don't see it. So I would give them about a 5 out of 10. Probably a 4.
It's pretty low.
Yeah, it's pretty low. I mean, the Mavericks, last time they went was when Dirk with a perfect storm. So, I mean, the Mavericks are not a championship ilk kind of franchise. I mean, I'm just saying.
Hey, I will not deter any Dallas player at all. The only reason that I actually have liked them a little bit was because of Luka Doncic, because I do like watching him, even though he's
a good basketball player. Absolutely. He's a good basketball player. Listen, I hate the Dallas Mavericks. I don't care for them at all, but I mean, if I'm just going to evaluate talent for what talent is, I mean, shit. Luka Doncic is a great basketball player, but the Mavericks don't have a great shot to win the championship. I mean, it's just facts. So going back to James Harden, we didn't give a number grade with that. What would you give James Harden from 1 to 10 as far as his championship capabilities?
Okay, best case scenario, he forces his way out of Philly, and but they're gonna have to give up something major. About a 1.
Yeah, I'm about a 3. Yeah, because James Harden to me is just not a championship athlete. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Unless he gets real old and he's just like a Tracy McGrady on the bench when the Spurs were good.
Yeah.
Sorry, it just is what it is. Shout out to Nick Simeon, man. Hoop Jargon member says Harden is equivalent. Shout out to Nick, man. The equivalent of a dude at 24 who always has Knicks. Damn, that's crazy. Rap God says Damian Lillard equals Kyle. I think Damian Lillard way better than Kyle Lowry. I don't know what you mean by that one.
What was that? Hold on. Yeah. No. What?
All right, go ahead. Go for
it. Equals Kyle Lowry?
I don't know about that one.
I don't know about that either. Although Kyle Lowry has 8 championships. So, yeah, but still, that's kind of.
But Kyle Lowry has a championship as like the 3rd best player on the team, or 2nd to 3rd, however you want to parse that out. Dame Lillard has always been the best player on his team. So it's kind of hard to compare those two, in my opinion. I think individually, Dame Lillard has way more game, personally.
Oh, yeah.
You kind of jumped out the window on that one, Rap God. So you also say, I can see Westbrook winning the ring. Boy, you jumping out the goddamn window. No. Russell Westbrook ain't winning shit unless he's on the bench. But I know you're a pro Russell Westbrook person, so I'll give the floor to you, Hollywood. What you got?
No, I mean, like it's kind of at some point you have to be like, no. I just haven't seen a system or anything that he like really thrives in. I mean, I thought he was doing better when he was coming off the bench for the Lakers, though.
He was. He's doing way better coming off the bench.
Yeah. So I mean, it has to be a role like that. And at this point, I mean, I feel like that's his only option. But I mean, I don't want to take anything away from it. I like, even though I saw a Luka Doncic fan, I really do like more athletic players. So
Fair enough. Listen, man, Russell Westbrook signed a 2-year, $4 million extension. $8 million, I think. That tell you everything you know. That dude is a league minimum kind of guy now. And I know his profile is, he was MVP 4 years ago. Listen, man, Jan Jackson said it lately. What have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
He is a guy who is reputation over productivity. That's who Russell Westbrook is. And so, Rap God, again, I fucks with you the long way, but no, that dude ain't winning shit this whole career unless he's like a 7th or 8th player off the bench. Then we can start talking about Russell Westbrook winning. I mean, again, what have we seen? Man, shout out to my guy Between Game Sports, my boy Will. Man, he's been my friend since 8 years old. Russell Westbrook is good enough to bring on your team and bad enough to trade that same year. Ask Oklahoma City. Ask the Rockets.
I haven't seen any system like be conducive to his skill set. I mean, I'm gonna put it on the teams rather than him.
Oh shit. So I mean, okay, so it's like it's not you, it's me, kind of thing.
Yeah, cool. Maybe just if y'all cater to his style of play a little bit more, maybe
Maybe he just sucks.
Yeah.
Maybe he just sucks as far as the current NBA spectrum. And listen, I'm not saying he sucks in the sense he cannot play basketball. We know Russell Westbrook can hoop. But what I am saying is in the 3-point percentage, he's at the bottom. The bottom. One of the worst 3-point shooters in the NBA. That's fact. Turnovers. One of the worst in the turnovers from point guards in the NBA. That's fact. Defense. One of the worst in the NBA in defense. That's just fact. So I get it. People like his fervor. He's a dog. He plays hard. Okay, I appreciate that. Like, shout out to Big Mo. We love that. We appreciate that. But in Houston, Texas, we talk about that man. So that man is, you ain't doing shit, bro.
Yeah.
The stuff that we need you to perform on, you are deficient, and that's why people call you West Brick, right? And you earn your title, homie. So that's all I got to say about that, man. So all my Houston people understood that little soliloquy I went on because I incorporated
Always.
H-Town Drown. Okay, shout out to E-Black too. Says Luka needs a great team around him, but like Harden is really ball dominant. Yeah, I agree. And we've seen that sharing the ball works. The Nuggets have shown that to the nth degree. He stole that suit from Bill. Stupid. Damian has to be third on the. Yes, I agree with that, Rap God. Okay, Rap God. You came back to Earth, boy. You was out in the orbit, my friend. You was out there in Neptune and Pluto. But you came back to Earth. I appreciate you. He says Kyle Lowry was the first option in Toronto, then went to Toronto. Yes, exactly. Shout out to my boy Zach. Say, what up, love? What up, Holly? Good to see you, Zach.
Hey, Zach.
Shout out to my guy, Zen Master, one of the most level-headed people you'll see on YouTube. So y'all go sub to him. Zen Master is going to give you that uncut dope, just like how you get over here. So, all right, so at least one more guy. Kevin Durant. Where do you put his chances of having success outside the Brooklyn Nets? Go for it.
As a former Kevin Durant hater, as I was, I went to A&M, so pretty much anybody that goes to UT,
right,
I'm like, no. And then obviously it was so easy to jump on the bandwagon of hate whenever he, went to Golden State. It just was like, ooh, I'm subscribing to the pylon until I wasn't. And he became like this kind of like underdog, this like villain almost. And then I was like, you know what? I like him now. So
oh God.
I like Twitter fingers now. And I think the thing with obviously like health is always a concern with KD. I can't take anything away from like his game. I really can't take too much away from his game. It's more so like his health and then obviously the pieces he has around him. Phoenix is such a, I don't even know what to call it, but they've got to make something. they've got to make something happen with Ayton right now. He's having like a whole like Ben Simmons meltdown or something. I don't know. These younger generations are a little different. I think Booker is obviously he was in the finals how many years ago?
2 years, 3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago. I would love to give them, out of all of the players that I want to see win the most, it's gotta be KD, because I want that narrative of him only being able to join up with already championship team, Golden State. I want that like put by the wayside, even though he was MVP. I want that kind of like
Twice.
He's
finally
swept off to the wayside, huh?
Yeah. He was finals MVP twice in that.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm nervous health wise, and then I feel like they need to secure Ayton. I know they traded Cameron Payne, who, he wasn't putting up big numbers, but he can show up, in big games sometimes.
He's a fringe starter.
So, and I figure I forgot who else they were trying to sign. I was seeing some other like rumors.
Well, they just signed Bobo, which is a very versatile 7'3" guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, the progeny of Manute Bol. Some people say he's the same skill set of Wembanyama. I think body wise, yes, but as far as actual talent, I just no. but Bobo has a lot of upside. He's only like 23 years old.
Yeah.
And I had to change hats because you said you
oh God. Hey, AB says put that shit on, but I'm saying take that shit off.
So Rap God says KD is a loser outside of Golden State. I don't think that's necessarily true. KD had the Thunder when you remember when Russell Westbrook was injured. He had them on a serious tear in the playoffs. I think it's 2014. KD was a toe away from beating Giannis Antetokounmpo in 2020.
A toe
away.
Away.
He's a toe away. So I can't say that. Like, because KD stepped up, what they say, he rose and shone in moments. Now, I mean, if you want to just kind of get on Matthew and say, like, okay, well, what has he done since the Golden State Warriors? Then, yeah, I mean, you can do that if you want to. But I can't say he's a loser in the playoffs without that, because we've seen him step up and show up when it was meant for him to do so. And I'll even go this far. In 2012, if Russell Westbrook would just gave him the goddamn ball, I think the Thunder would have a different result. I just do. Because look at Westbrook career, look at KD career. I say this all the time, man. When KD won the scoring championship those 3 years, Russell Westbrook took more shots than him every year. Every year, Russell Westbrook took more shots than him. So, and listen, I said this in moment, and at the time, in 2012 to 2015, that was kind of like, blasphemy talking down on Russell Westbrook, because, he's such a, he was such a fiery figure. His numbers and his fervor was just so
exciting to watch. Yeah.
Right. But I sniffed that out back then. I'm like, no, this dude won't win shit. I said that in moment, and all my Hoop Jargon members, y'all can vouch me that. I said, no, this dude won't win shit. And goddamn it, that take age like fine goddamn wine. Just saying. Listen, man, you call me a Westbrook hater to your goddamn face turn blue. But the facts is the facts. You play inefficient basketball, you're not going to win basketball games as a star player. Now, as a backup player, being Otis, nobody came to see you, Otis. Now, you Otis Redding with the Temptations, then you may do it. But as being the head guy, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Will Russell Westbrook's game and his IQ not happening.
Yeah. Severely lacking.
Severely lacking. Just saying. So okay. So again, so from you said that James Harden was a 1. You said that Kyrie Irving, you put him at a 6.
I think I said 7.
7. Where do you put Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns' chance to win a championship?
You know what? Let me just championship. I really should go back and lower my first one, because I forget that their current teams are in the West. And I don't know. I would still probably give the Nuggets a pretty good shot, although I think Bruce Bowen not being there is going to make a difference.
Okay.
You know what? I'll put them about a 7 too. I'll give them a 7 too.
Okay. I think that Kevin Durant in the Phoenix Suns will have the highest chance. I put him at about a 6. They still don't have a point guard, which that concerns me. We don't know about Kevin Durant's health. I'll put him at about a 6. I think in my 6, I probably put Kyrie. I put Kyrie near the 4, and I put James Harden at 2. Yeah. So yeah, I put them at the highest about a 6. I don't think they guarantee anything. I think the Nuggets. Somebody got to show me that you can beat out what the Nuggets are doing, and they're very efficient. They're very good at what they do. They lost Bruce Brown, but
did I say Bruce Bowen?
You did, but that's okay. But the nucleus is still there.
It's a throwback.
Yeah, I'll let you make it. But so I mean, yeah. So I put him about right there. Shout out to E Black. He says, "Who joined? Why I hate Russell was." Listen, man, I hate bad basketball. I don't care what the name on the back of your jersey say. You play bad basketball, you gotta hate it in me. Sorry. just saying. Nuggets should have traded MPJ and kept Bo. Well, I mean, they won a championship of what they did, bro. So I don't know why you say that.
I don't know about that one.
If they lost, then you'd have some legs to stand on. But they won with the current model, so I don't see why they would have changed anything they would have done. Me personally. But with that said, okay, so we got our rankings down. So let's go to our next topic. Now, this is the one everybody on the internet's blowing up about. Your boy Jordan Poole and your boy Draymond Green. There's a lot of barbs going around.
Yeah.
The YouTube sphere and the sports sphere. You got Jordan Poole dad talking about pulling up on Draymond and so on and so forth. So just tell me your thoughts on this. What you got?
So I feel like I'm a sports purist at the end of the day. Like, I care what you do between 4 quarters. That's why you and I always have these debates regarding, I won't say it's regarding some of these characters. Obviously, it does flow over into the game. I get it. But I give people a lot of the benefit of the doubt. So to me, like, I don't care about any of this extra, like, shit that's going on. Social media, and everybody has a podcast now that, like, an outlet to voice all these, like, random opinions and, like, heat of the moment thoughts. And it's just like, it exacerbates these stories, right? I know that I think it's like Chris Haynes made a video today and was just like, hey, we need to, like, get away from focusing on all of this, like, petty, like, back and forth stuff. And I couldn't agree more. Like, it is silly, but at the same time, part of the NBA is built on, like, the drama. Like, look at us now. It's the middle of the summer. There's no basketball. Summer league isn't even going on right now. But basketball continues to dominate headlines year round, right? So, you know, I understand that people love the drama of it, but personally, like, I could do without it. Now, I know it does flow over to the locker room, right? It flows over to the locker room. Obviously, teammates not getting along can
be detrimental to a team. But you know, I could do without all the extra. But with that being said, I mean, Jordan Poole got shipped out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess the Warriors made a choice, sort of. But Jordan Poole's not there anymore, and Draymond is. And I don't know which you would say is more valuable to the team. I mean, I think Jordan Poole's contract, it was a little high. You know, it was like they were like prisoners of the moment, like you like to say a lot of times, maybe. And you know, he got a big contract. But Draymond might be on his, you know, decline or what have you. And I don't know how valuable he is to the team, but the fact of the matter is Draymond's there and Poole is not. Do I see the Warriors like going forward? Like, do I see them making it far? I'm never going to count out Curry. He's just kind of one of those players you're like, you can't count him out. But if I had to say, do I think they'll get another championship? No. Now, do I think Jordan Poole, obviously, in the Wizards are going to get a championship or something? No. But he still got paid. I mean, he's still making money, so.
Well, I look at it like this. Rap God says he sides with Draymond. Listen, man, I'm a big Draymond Green fan as far as his game. I'm a very big hater of Draymond Green and his bullshit. Draymond Green is so full of shit, man. It's not even funny, man. How can I count the ways? Like from what he did to Kevin Durant when he didn't pass the ball to KD and he's like, we ain't need you anyway. Motherfucker, you the same dude who got in the parking lot and begged him to come to play for the Warriors. So, because what I don't like is emotional men. And Draymond Green is super emotional dude. And he has this ruse is like he's like a bully. And I see through his bullshit. But it's hard to say this because I'm a fan of Draymond Green. I like his game. I've been a fan since Michigan State. I like Draymond Green. But when he does these antics and then he gets these technical fouls, knowing what's at stake, and he keeps getting these technical fouls deep in playoff runs, he compromises the team dynamic because his bullshit. And he goes to his podcast and then he's so contrite. And then, you know, it's like, oh, well, yeah, this. Nah, motherfucker, when you in the moment, you lose all that scope you have after the fact. He's like an ultimate Monday morning quarterback to me. So, with that being said, I hate Jordan Poole even more than him. Jordan Poole is the antithesis of a light-skinned personality guy. And I know I don't care about colorism and stuff. We don't do it over here. That dude is one of them old dudes who think that he is too good for every situation he in. You can just see it. You can see it in his bravado. You can see it in the way, because, like, you know what's funny? Steph Curry is probably one of the most level-headed athletes you'll ever see. So is Klay Thompson. Y'all remember when Jordan Poole took that crazy-ass three-pointer and both of them kind of like had that little snide look at him? That told you everything you need to know. That means that's been a culmination of a lot of bad basketball. And so that tells me that Draymond's a guy who's actually going to say something. Draymond, again, he been an emotional guy. He stole off on Jordan Poole because that was a culmination of a lot of talking back and forward. Because, again, Jordan Poole got that light-skinned dude disease. I'm sure he's been talking that big shit since he got there. And then he has a very erratic way of playing, and they won a championship. At the end of the day, they won a championship with that. So you think that he don't come into a situation like you can't tell me nothing, you out your goddamn mind. If you read personalities, come on. I have no intimate knowledge in that locker room, but I can just read what's going on with the dynamics. So that's what took place. So now that Draymond's on this, you know, tour now, trying to kind of, I mean, just saying he did again. I let the backdrop with Kevin Durant of how he tried to smooth over the fact that he was mad at KD because KD got mad at him. Like, that's some bullshit, bro. You know the pecking order. Come off the rock. Give it to goddamn KD. Because if you remember, he took it up court and he turned the ball over and game over. Well, the quarter was over, I believe. I think it was the third quarter that happened. But, bro, you know KD needs the goddamn ball in his hand. What the hell are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
And then even in this playoff series when they lost to the Lakers, he had that, little dribble handoff that he didn't get back to Steph, and he drove hard right, and then he passed out, turnover, ball game over. Draymond has a problem with that, man, and he thinks he's more than what he is. So, I have a conundrum as being a fan of his. I'm just like, I can appreciate what he brings to the table, but at the same time, it's almost like you hate what you love. You know what I'm saying? But I hate both of them equally. Like, I really hate Jordan Poole's game, like, to the nth degree. I think Jordan Poole is like the new Kevin Martin. He's the new version of what's the name of the inefficient guy? Jamal Crawford, ilk. Like, I just think Jordan Poole is a loser if he's a star guy. And him and Kyle Kuzma been the best two players. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
Washington's kind of been a mess for a while. But no, and not to speak too much on the drama of the whole Poole Draymond situation. It's like I was debating with my best friend, and I was like, for Draymond to dish out as much as he does, it's amazing that he got triggered enough to punch somebody. But then my best friend was like, well, he's about that life though. If you're gonna talk, you better back it up. And I'm like, well, I guess that's true too.
That's fair.
So, I don't know. I mean, but I don't see either one of them winning another champ. Well, I won't say I don't see Poole. There's a lot of things, happening, but as of now, not this year, neither one of them are going to the ship anytime soon.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, so again, if I had to pick between two bad behavior guys,
yeah,
I'm going Draymond Green.
Yeah.
It's a better system with the Warriors. I mean, that goes without saying. And one thing that Draymond Green is kind of like, he's going off a reputation. And if I'm the Warriors, I wouldn't pick neither one of them now, because what they basically shown is that the loyalty to Draymond is what they went to. With your boy Jordan Poole being more of a malcontent, the new guy, they gave him a bag. They were like, okay, obviously there's some nucleus issues here. Obviously there's some continuity issues here. We're gonna go with the old guy. And I think that's a big indictment on Jordan Poole, because generally speaking, when there's a conflict, you go with the younger guy.
Mm-hmm.
11 times out of 10.
You're right.
As a legend, go get checked.
At the end of the day, basketball is a business.
Absolutely.
And they're gonna go with whatever player can further their, championship aspirations. I mean, look at my favorite in Miami. He should have got that legacy deal at the time. He should have got his $50 million for 2 years. But no, they they didn't give him his $50 million. Didn't give Dwayne Wade his $50 million, and he had to go to Chicago. But so it's so it's been kind of surprising. So you're right, it is an indictment of Jordan Poole. I agree.
It's a big indictment, and D Wade was done in Chicago. The nostalgia factor that they went with.
Yeah.
And, whatever. He went to the Cavs after that, didn't work out. I mean, cooler heads prevailed. Smart logic prevailed in that situation. The Heat were good to get rid of D Wade when they did. Just there. But with Jordan Poole, again, I just see a guy who's just a volume shooter, poor percentage shooter. And now you're playing with Kyle Kuzma, who is a fake number one. Oh, my God, man. The Wizards are going to be a mess. They're going to be a doggone mess. It's going to be so funny watching them dudes. Low IQ out the wazoo. And that's not the word I want to use.
Yeah.
That's not the word I want to use. Let me get some of these comments real quick. And guys, listen, if you like the comment, please hit the like button. If you have not done that, you are doing this stream a big disservice. I got Holly on her free time coming out, talking some sports. And if you really like it, hit the subscribe button if you're new. And if you really, really, really like it, hit the super chat. You can hit the Cash App and, support the channel, man. It's much appreciated. So shout out to No Guarantees, who already put 5 on it. Thank you so much, sir. So again, if you like what's going on, I won't stop you from blocking your blessing of blessing channel. So, Azriel, shout out to Azriel the Daywalker. Well, Azriel, you change your name, goddamn, every 2 months. Azriel says he plays hella sloppy, he comes across as indifferent. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Jordan Poole is yes, absolutely. Jordan Crawford's more efficient. You're right. That probably wasn't the best reference, but I mean, you know, J.R. Smith, absolutely. Draymond is getting that MMA back. You know, I think Draymond Green picks his targets, man. I don't think Draymond Green is just that pick a fight with anybody kind of guy because he stole off another college guy a few years ago. So I think Draymond likes to pick on young dudes. Like that's what his resume says. But at any rate, okay. So the consensus is that Draymond Green was justified in doing what he did to Jordan Poole. Is it safe to say?
I wouldn't say no. I don't think the physicality of it, like, no. I wouldn't say that's like justified. I just don't see somebody saying something to me that's like gonna make me want to like hit them.
Well, I would say having played basketball for a good portion of my life, there are a lot of things you can say. And normally the B word is the caveat.
Yeah, okay, you know what? But it would have to be like pertain to like my child or something. But yeah, I'm not a man. I don't play professional sports. So, okay. But I mean, at least he backed it up because he does talk a lot of shit, but he did.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I guess to kind of put a capstone on this, Jordan Poole to me seems like a guy who just talks with recklessness, and Draymond Green obviously is that. So you put those two worlds colliding from like a quote unquote pretty boy and like a more of a dog mentality guy. Yeah. Those worlds are always going to collide, and I think that that's just a textbook example of that. Because what I'm sure of is Steph Curry and Klay just ignore Draymond's bullshit all the time. I'm sure they just like, all right, man, whatever. like, because those guys are smart, level-headed guys. I gotta say it, raised by men. It's like Draymond's, again, that's some feminine shit to me. When you emote first, that's some feminine ass shit. And I think guys who are level-headed, it doesn't really affect them. It's like, okay, I know it. I know.
Right.
So KD, if you remember, he said he went dark after Draymond did that shit to him. Because why is that? Because he's a single mother raised guy too. So he took it as like, I'm gonna go scorch earth with it. When like Steph and Klay, they just brushed that shit out. Like, all right, man, Draymond just doing his thing today. Whatever, man. Bro, I need you to get your 6 rebounds, your 6 assists, and your 13 points. Like, as long as you do that, we ain't got no problem. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think that, you know, in professional circles, guys who are level-headed generally get better results out of their other teammates because they understand things that they don't get out of pocket. I think the biggest thing, because here's, I'll land the plane here. A lot of teams that, you know, we look at like, damn, all that talent, you can win? It's because it's deeper than that, man. It's about team dynamic. It's about cohesion. It's about continuity. All those things matter. And I think the teams that are more sturdy at the top tend to do better overall.
Yeah.
As Real says, do I have Cash App? Yes, sir. It's scrolling the bottom, man. $ HJ Streams. Appreciate you, brother. In advance. So yeah. All right. So any capstone you got on that one before you move forward?
I just like I like keeping sports about sports, and I all the drama I could do without, but the end result is Draymond is where he said he would be, and Jordan Poole isn't. So we know who won that.
That's fair. So, question, I'll ask you this first. Is Draymond better than Dennis Rodman?
I mean, stat-wise, no. I think, no. I mean, maybe IQ. I didn't watch basketball, full disclosure. I didn't watch basketball, like, in the 90s. Like, I'm a newcomer to basketball, like, you know, 1999s, you know, into the 2000s, so I didn't really watch Dennis Rodman, so I can't speak on like his IQ and so forth. Draymond's IQ is like really high.
Yeah.
But
I'll
no.
help you out. Dennis Rodman his IQ was equally high. Dennis Rodman was really good at positions, as far as rebounding. He was very good as far as being a versatile defender. Just offensively was not his forte, just like Draymond Green. The fact that Dennis Rodman in his later years, for the Bulls, that he was able to rein in his, reputation and be a key piece where people say that was a super team, because Rodman was on his way out the NBA. Rodman led the league in rebounds. Oh man, I can't recall how many years, but this dude would average like routinely like 12 or 13 rebounds a year. Yeah. Dennis Rodman by far. And this is his elder years. His younger years, you didn't really use a guy like that to do what Draymond Green does. And so I give Draymond Green a lot of credit. Again, I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
But Dennis Rodman was very, very much a linchpin for the Pistons' success in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, because of his versatility and how good he was as a ancillary piece, which basically what Draymond Green is to the Warriors. So if we put them side by side, I think Draymond could shoot better. I'll give him that. Rodman way more athletic. Rodman rebound at a way higher clip. Draymond could facilitate better. But I'm a big thing is, are you proficient at what you do? And from a proficiency standpoint, I think Dennis Rodman, it's not even close to me.
Yeah.
Personally, me personally. I mean, I'll argue with anybody who wants to go Draymond. Again, I'll argue against a guy who I like, but I mean, it is what it is. Draymond's a better all-around player, but Rodman's a better defender. Yeah. Rap God pretty much said what I just said. Rodman was a horrible free throw shooter. I think that's the difference. Well, Draymond Green is not a particularly great free throw shooter either. But he's better than Rodman, to your point. You say depending on the team. Okay. Listen, man, I won't jump out the window with that debate, but if you're going to ask me, if you're going to hold me down to an actual answer, that's my answer.
I mean, you did say by far, though. You did say by far.
All right, but I think if you make, fair enough. I feel like if you make two good points in a row, then I sway my opinion. But as it is right now, it's by far. But if you hit me with two things that I didn't think about, I'll be like, okay, I can see that. Because these are two great players. So I don't want to act like it's just like I'm shitting on Draymond Green. But just the things I can think in my mind right now, I will put Rodman by far. But I guess I'm giving myself a cop out. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. So we're at the hour mark, Holly. So I know we had one more thing on the lecture, but we don't have to go so super long. I know you out there on the in the central area. You want to go with our last one with Dan Le Batard, or we want to leave it here?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I think that would speak to our our particular niche that we're in right now.
Okay. Now I can't lie. I don't know what the hell this Dan Le Batard thing is, so I'm gonna play a little bit from his show. Well, you give me some rundown on this. What's the situation with it?
I mean, well, obviously he used to have the show. I believe he was part of the show with his dad, and yeah, so he had that. That's been over for a while.
Yeah.
But obviously, like, sparked by all the ESPN layoffs, firings, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk in the media about what's going on at ESPN, and it prompted Dan Le Batard to basically say, like, Stephen A. Smith, who's one of their highest paid, if not the highest paid, I don't know, McAfee, I guess he's one of their highest paid too. He just basically said that he is kind of like the problem with, I'm not sure if he said like analysts or just sports media,
Good.
but kind of like this whole debate culture, like the whole First Take, and obviously on Fox Undisputed, like it's doing damage to the basically doing damage to, I guess, sports media or the coverage of sports in general.
Okay.
It's kind of dumbing it down. And honestly, I found it kind of provocative because I sort of agree. And I'm not taking anything away from Stephen A. Smith. Obviously, he's been successful, and ESPN would not pay him a whole bunch of money for nothing. Obviously, ratings are there, popularity is there, but I don't disagree with Dan.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna play a little bit from this, and maybe we can derive some. I'll play about 2 minutes of this, and then I have a better scope of what's going on. So with that being said, let's do it. And shout out to End Kid Podcast, man. Y'all go sub up over there. Brother said I'm late, but I'm here to support my bro. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. All right, so let's play a little bit of Dan Le Batard. Fair use, fair use. Let's go.
I do not listen to the Stephen A. Smith No Mercy podcast. I am an admirer of Stephen A. Smith's story. It doesn't have a whole lot of precedent in.
First off, shout out to Dan Le Batard with this gas station hat on he got. Bro, tell me it's not a gas station hat.
No, that is. It's like a truck stop hat.
Bruh. Terrible. The word Charles Barkley. Terrible.
In my lifetime in journalism, a guy gets let go by ESPN and somehow makes it back stronger than ever, dominates the network, will now be someone who gets to have resources with First Take to make it bigger and bigger and bigger as Skip Bayless looks for a partner, as Skip Bayless takes 2 months off and they try to figure out if Richard Sherman can fill the role of Shannon.
I like that, by the way. I think Richard Sherman is the perfect person to go against Skip Bayless, me personally.
Sharp, and as it is rumored all over the place that Shannon Sharp might go to ESPN and be a part of what Stephen A. Smith is now doing under ESPN's umbrella. And if you're watching him closely, a lot of stuff outside of ESPN's umbrella, because that man is hungrier than anyone I've ever met in this business about accruing, and whatever's next for him is going to be giant. I consider him a friend, and I'm impressed by him. I don't like what he's done to sports television. I think he's helped make it dumber. This has bothered him that I said this to him the last time that we talked. And I would like to talk to him in the future in a way that is conversational instead of performative about how dumb sports debate television has made everything. But I heard this, people sent me that Stephen A. Smith went after me loudly, because that's the only way he goes after people. And this is what he had to say. I've only seen it. I haven't actually heard it. I've only seen aggregated quotes that I read, that he said something. I didn't even know what he was reacting to. That's
fair use, fair use.
Something I did was bull. So let's hear that.
Oh, my Lord. I'm looking Elamin Hassan, rather. I'm sorry to mess up your name, Elamin. You know that. Got love and respect for you. He on the Dan Le Batard show, and he's talking too. And I'm looking at Dan Le Batard, and I'm still disgusted. Still disgusted, even though Dan Le Batard is my friend, and I love him. But I'm still disgusted about how he came at me with that question on his damn show. I hate what you and Skip Bayless have done to sports. Like his ass has been doing accounting. Did you have highly questionable? Was our daddy on the show with us? That was you. Yo. By the way, I love Mr. Le Batard. Papa De Le Batard. No shade on him either. I'm talking about your comfort. You was on the show just looking at your father saying hi and giving him a hug and a kiss. You were debating. That's what you were doing. It amazes me how somebody like a Dan Le Batard will sit up there and lament the state of affairs in an industry you are participating in. You sitting on the air, I don't know how long ago it was, with Jamel Hill talking about how, you know what, it's a great thing you left. Really? Okay, probably is. Because I know you're gifted at what you do, and you're a great person. You know I love you, but I'm getting on Dan Le Batard about this a little bit. Why is ESPN always a topic of discussion like this? And why are folks coming off like we're losing? Subscribers have diminished. We're in 72 million homes now, not the 90 plus million or even 100 million that we were years ago. Do you have any idea how dominant ESPN in the sports landscape? We're number one. No one's close.
Tell me you.
Damn. Stephen A. Smith let the clip ride on his boy, Dan Le Batard. Stephen A. let the clip ride. Holly, your thoughts?
Okay. So first, to speak to like numbers and so forth, I don't know where he's like getting those numbers from, but I find that it could even be higher than what he's saying, like just from because there's so many like different ways to receive, programming these days. But I think like when you think about getting just like the rudiments and the stats and like coverage of sports, you think about ESPN. So I'm not sure if he's talking about like his show in particular or if it's ESPN as a whole, but like everybody's going to watch SportsCenter because it's just going to recap all the sports of what's been going on. So that's first. And again, I don't know all of the ratings and the statistics behind it. This is what I equate the sports debate landscape to right now is politics in America. Everybody wants to be on a team. So either you're a Shannon Sharpe guy or you're a Skip Bayless guy or you're a Stephen A. Smith and a Matt or a Max person, like you want to align yourself with one or the other, similar to politics. Like, truthfully, you probably don't agree. Most people are in the middle about politics, but they don't want to admit it because they want to be part of a team. And kind of the same thing has developed in this sports debate culture. It's just like maybe you don't necessarily agree. You might be like, I don't necessarily agree with something Steven said, but I'm going to give him a pass, and I'm still team Stephen A. Smith. So people like to have their person and be team. I mean, we're talking about sports, like it's team affiliation in general. Like that's our nature. But when it comes to this, it's like there's so much gray area, and so like I feel like a lot of the commentary and opinions really just get like lost in either being a Steven guy, being a Shannon Sharpe guy, being a Skip guy, Max guy, Will Kane guy. Like
it's a throwback
so
right there.
I do feel like it's like gravitated to this like polarizing thing. And so I don't disagree. And for Stephen A. Smith to say like, oh, you didn't debate things on your show. Of course there was like elements of debate, but it also had like a fun nature behind it. I actually liked the show that he was on, but I do feel like it's gotten super gimmicky, and I'm not saying that none of us are above gimmicks. Like we all kind of talk about things that we know will get reactions from people. I definitely do. But it's just like it becomes monotonous and you know what to expect. To me, it's boring. And I would say it does dumb it down because now you just want to be team this or team that.
Yeah, what you're speaking to is binary thinking, and most humans, that's what they default to, this or that. When I'm in sales, when I get down to two products, I want it down to two products. I don't want to give you like 18 options. I want you to get two. So yeah, so people are programmed to think that way. So yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree with you in that capacity. And listen, Dan Le Batard ain't told no lies. Like, listen, man, I don't watch First Take no more. I don't watch it at all. And the reason why is not because, I'm not one of them Stephen A. haters. You know what I'm saying? I respect what he does. But those are empty calories to me. Those takes he has, it gives me no edification. It gives me no enrichment. It's just some bullshit getting spewed. Now I listen to JJ Redick every now and again when he's not being woke. I you know, I hate wokeism. I listen to Perk when he ain't being a LeBron a jockey, right? I'll listen to good points when good points are to be said over there on that side, but I gotta say, I'll listen to FS1 before I listen to them because it's more direct talk. Or I listen to YouTubers speak about basketball before them because it's overall it's more meat to the bone.
Yeah.
Meat on the bone. And I think that they've made it more than clear that they want to cater to the people who have no clue what the hell they listen to and the younger audience. Because if you watch ESPN on social media, they be putting like sharing videos of somebody making some trick shot in their backyard and shit. I'm like, why the hell is ESPN putting that out there? Like, this is ESPN. When I grew up, ESPN was like the pinnacle of sports information. Like when you saw guys like Chris Berman and Scott Van Pelt was later, but Chris Berman, Stuart Scott, so on and so forth. Like their words were gospel. What they said was gospel. When you know Stuart Scott, man, rest in peace to that brother, man. Like Mookie was Mookie Blaylock, you know, moniker he had. And the way they broke the game down and they just kept it sports related. It was good content, and that basically was your counterbalance to reading an article or reading a magazine. That was the counter. Like it just was so much better presented. Going forward, as it is now, you got people like Malika Andrews, trash. You got people like, even Paul Pierce, I'm gonna say it's trash. Like, you know, it's funny that we got to digest these things now. And even Stephen A, I'm not going to say trash per se, but he's a progenitor of that argument over content, over substance thing. And again, where's the lie? Where's the lie, bro?
It's about delivery and sound bites.
Right. Because we seen goofies like Ryan Hollins come on there when he was on this big LeBron James kick about 4 years ago. Goofy ass takes. Your boy Damon Jones, you know, shout out to Galveston, Texas.
He doesn't even claim Galveston though. That's the crazy thing.
Oh, well, good for him.
All right. All right.
But no, it's just like we can see through the bullshit. Because even with you can say Shannon Sharpe is compromised, which I think so with Clutch Sports. But at least he was entertaining. At least he, this is a former professional who LeBron James takes be damned. When it was time to break shit down, Shannon Sharpe gave you perspective.
Yes.
Even if it was wrong, he tried to give you some real breakdowns of things.
Right.
Football is not to be questioned, nothing he said out of his mouth. Football is not to be questioned. Basketball, spotty at best, right? So, ultimately speaking, Stephen A, I've seen him go on strings when he is talking about it was the Chargers versus, I want to say the Raiders football game. He was talking about guys that literally were not on the field. Stephen A was mentioning guys who was on injury reserve, talking about guys he's looking forward to see play. I'm like, dude, you are like the highest paid guy in the sports spectrum, and you even give enough thought to look at the active roster to even give a real opinion. We've seen Charles Barkley. Now, he's gotten better, but in the NCAA tournament about 10 years ago, he didn't know none of these players. Number 10, Clemson.
And the crazy part about it is they have so many resources at their disposal.
Right.
They have like message boards, because I had a friend that was a producer for Sports Center, and he worked under Max Kellerman in boxing as well. And it was like, I would ask him a question, he'd be like, I can put it on this message board and I get an answer for you. They have tremendous resources as far as research.
Right. So you choosing not to do it. I'm not saying you don't live a busy life. You're successful. You make a lot of money. But I peep game, man. Shout out to 50-50 Little Twin. I peep game with Fendi Lens. Like, I see what you're doing. You're being lazy. So when you're being lazy, I'm on your tail. And shout out to Stem. Good to see you, Stem. let's see. Okay, you got somebody over there coming for you. Says how you doing. So again, guys, hit the like button. We've had a riveting discussion about all these things, and right now we're talking about Dan Le Batard going in on Stephen A. Smith and Stephen A. Smith going in on him back. And it's just what we're seeing right now is sports. Again, the fact that Maneka Andrews is still at the ESPN staff when they got rid of guys like Mark Jackson, they got rid of guys like Jalen Rose, they got rid of people like.
I mean, okay, in defense of, and I'm not like a Malika Andrews fan or whatever, and you know, it's a lot of women, and I'm very pro women. I'm a girl's girl, but like, I mean, they can't fire too many women. They can't let too many women go.
Right.
You know, they already let oh no, she was on. Was she on? I liked Rachel Nichols and I liked Michelle Beadle, and neither one of them are there. That's prior to obviously all of this, but they couldn't let too many women go. Like it's
Jamel Hill trash ass go too. Jamel Hill's trash.
Who?
Jamel Hill.
Oh.
Trash.
I don't listen to her. I don't listen to a whole lot. Like I'm more of like a facts. I don't care. Like I want to glean my own opinions because I speak my opinions, and I don't want to regurgitate information that I heard or opinions that I heard somewhere else for sure. So like I've kind of scaled back. Like I said, I don't watch First Take. I started watching Undisputed more. I do like Shannon Sharp because I think even with the gimmicks, so to speak, he still like articulates his points really well. I feel like what I used to say about Meek Mills when I was like a big Meek Mills hater was he's like a yell rapper, and I feel like the same thing about Stephen A. Smith. He's like a yell analyst,
like a shock jock, basically. What you're saying?
Yeah.
Kind of just grandiose.
Yes.
The voice inflection over content kind of thing.
Right.
Well, I would say, yeah, Jamel Hill was terrible because she basically hedged her career on Colin Kaepernick, and it torpedoed her. And I'm just like, yo, listen. At the time, I was a big supporter of Colin Kaepernick. As a football player, I'm still a big fan of Colin Kaepernick. Big fan of Colin Kaepernick. I've always liked him. That other stuff he was on, don't hit your wheels to a guy, in my opinion, this is my opinion and my opinion only, who cannot explain his platform. When he talk, he ain't got nothing to say, which means your platform is weak. So you hedge, and Michael Smith, y'all hedge y'all's platform at ESPN 6 at the time with 2017, I want to say, 2016, 2017, on just going hard on Kaepernick, going hard against Trump, and you lost. And you lost your goddamn contract, and you lost your show. That's what happened. So that's why I say trash, because you didn't make it about sports anymore. Yeah. You made it political. Trash. So when I look at Malika Andrews, when you keep bringing up guys in their like, inequities or their windfalls, well, pitfalls rather, they have in life. First, you're trash. Like old buddy who got drafted. You talking about, oh, well, he had this situation with the blah, 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 blah. You're trash. When Adrian Payne died 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, you brought up, he got accused of physical assault. Not the fact he got, he actually was convicted of it. You put the fact that he was accused of it. Yeah. And you made it about an athlete who died. It's the same guy, Adrian Payne, was basically a surrogate, big brother to this chick, she was like 10 years old and she died of cancer. That was like a big story for him when he first got to the NBA, right? That was his calling card. He was, she ended up dying, after, he got his career started, but he was big on supporting her. That's Adrian Payne's story. Not that some domestic violence situation. That was just an accusation, and he actually died trying to help a woman out in a domestic violence situation. He actually died doing that. But the way you paint his legacy is that he's this offender. That's why Malika Andrews is trash. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think it's like, I definitely have my Mike Holmes, like Molly Qerim, obviously, you know, you as a big, you know, Ball, LeVar, and the Ball family supporter, like when she had that interaction with him and then took such a hard line against him, I was like, oh my gosh. And so it's like, I feel like the women that they have, I'm not saying all of them, but definitely Malika, definitely Molly, they get like certain women personalities, and it's like they have to be like these huge like women's advocates, and it's like, okay, you can be that, but like let's keep it about sports. That's what I'm about. I'm a player oriented and a sports purist. Like I don't want to hear too much of the extra, all that extra and that politicalness of it. And yeah, that's the same issue I have with Molly Qerim.
Yes,
so I definitely agree with what you're coming from.
She's awful. She interjects. She's a moderator, and she acts like she's the host of the show because Stephen A. does not. So in my opinion, he does not establish order on his show. Because when you watch what Skip Bayless does, you remember he got into it with one of his co-hosts, and she was like, some fly.
Yeah, I think he made a comment about somebody's weight, like a coach's
right
or something.
And Skip said, "This is my show." She's like, "Oh well, I'm gonna say what I say." No, this is my show. No, and listen, you can have your opinions about Skip Bayless all you want to, but it literally is his show. When it's your shit, guess what? You get to run your shit how you want to.
Yeah.
And what I see with Stephen A. is he let people pop off at the mouth. And now back to Malika Andrews. He finally got some nuts. He spoke back to her finally. But you let people just talk how they want to freely on your shit, so they think they can do that. But if you remember the situation with Ime Udoka.
Mm-hmm. And that's the primary one I think about.
Right. So she was saying that he was speaking about how two consenting adults did adult behavior, yada yada yada, and she was like, "Oh, you don't get to say that about women." He's like, well, "Excuse me, this is my show.
Yeah,
you don't get to tell me what the hell I can do on my show." And he should have been did that though. The problem is you let her get away with talking slick, and that's again people who kind of let me back up. The reality of this is this. Sports on ESPN is a man space. It just is. Nobody's watching ESPN for the WNBA, right? Nobody's watching ESPN or Fox Sports 1 for the NBA. I don't think they ever cover the WNBA on FS1, right? You're watching for the NBA and the NFL, MLB a little bit, right? So in male spaces, I just got to say, it's going to be mostly a male audience, and male audience wants to hear male perspective. So when you're you're a visitor in the space, respect the space. That's all I'm saying. Respect the space.
Yeah, and again, like I'm not saying that they don't actually feel that way. I'm sure they actually do feel that way because I feel very strongly about a lot of women's issues. But it's like almost, it just feels like this like promotion of, like the Me Too movement. It's like you want to lay into that so much. It's like not everything is about that. Like Molly jumping the gun with LeVar Ball. Like, come on. Like, again, it is a man's space. Like, you have to have a little bit of thick skin,
right,
to talk amongst men, and not even just men. Like, we're talking about sports competition. Like, this is something that goes back centuries. Like, it's primal. So yes, you do have to kind of like cater to that environment. And now, I think ESPN, which I guess is Disney, it's like they want to, like I said, cater to these movements, but it's detracting from sports, in my opinion.
Right. Keep the sports about the sports, man. That's why the NBA works. That's why NFL works. And that's why, in my opinion, that's why the WNBA is struggling so much, because it's about these special interest groups. It's not about the sports. And people who just, like myself, who I can appreciate a girl hooper or a woman hooper for that matter, You got game, you got game. But here's what WNBA players do. I remember Andre Iguodala said, "Man, number 9 is nice." She was like, "Number 9 got a name." In the sports culture, we say that all the time. Like, oh man, 22, but that boy nice. Nobody takes offense for that. That's just the culture. So now you're playing this game where, okay, now you're offended by everything. Well, you know what? I just rather just stay away, right? Going forward. I remember Skylar Diggins, I want to say, was making a dig at your boy Harrison Barnes, talking about how he's overpaid or some shit like that. I'm just like, listen, if Harrison Barnes put a wig on and said I identify as Joanna Man, Harrison Barnes would be the greatest WNBA player that ever played. By tenfold. Am I lying?
I mean, obviously, we're not. I mean,
it's not obvious to them. It's not obvious to them, quote unquote. I mean, so again, I'm not trying to disparage women, but I'm just saying, I'm just trying to level set the conversation. So that's why the NBA, the WNBA, does not favor well with the fans, because they keep shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
Dude, just go out there and win.
And you know, and you see that like the interest rises when it is about like that intense competition. That's what people identify with.
Right.
And the shit talking and like just the head to head, like, I mean, that's what elevates it. Right. So I agree. As much as I want women in general to like prosper, and I do feel like women and men, I won't say equal is a weird thing because it depends on what we're talking about, right? But like as far as like the pay and this and that, I mean, like it's like what you talked about earlier. Like, well, what have you done? Like, what have you done for me lately? It was kind of the same thing. Like, well, what ratings are you bringing in? Like, how many tickets are you selling? Like, it equates to that. And again, I do feel like we do need to support women's sports more. At the same time, things like you just mentioned, yeah, I could see how that would detract from it. But stuff like we just saw this past year with the NCAA championship and all of that, that's stuff to elevate it. So let's focus on that.
Great. That was good for women's basketball, man. The Caitlin and I'll say Sha'Carri. It's not Sha'Carri. Angel Reese.
Angel Reese, yeah.
Yeah, that was good for basketball. That was some magic and bird shit. And I don't like doing the ring thing in somebody's face because that'll get you slapped. That'll get you punched. I don't like that. Other than that,
I don't mind it. I'm okay with it.
Well, I tell you, I've seen many people get stole off on the basketball court, and doing something in somebody's face is usually what happens. So now, if you're doing it, because here's my reference point: how your boy Dikembe Mutombo, when you're doing this right here,
yeah,
he couldn't do it in people's face no more. He had to do it like he blocked the shot. He do it to the crowd. No problem. You do that shit in somebody's face, somebody gonna punch you in your mouth, right? Because it's. I mean, when Pippen dunked on he dunked on Patrick Ewing and just like stood over him, that get you whooped. They'll get your ass whooped, and they don't allow that shit for a good reason. So when people are just getting so much on Angel Reese's side, I'm like, listen, that's not basketball culture. Basketball culture is you do shit in somebody's face, that's gonna lead to some confrontation. So do it to the crowd, do it to your teammate, do it to your bench. Talk shit. I'm cool with talking shit. Like, you know me, I'm a shit talker, right? You know me. But like, if somebody face in competition, no, there's no place for that shit. Like as Real said, you would want to fight him. Like, you don't do that shit, bro. There's no place for that shit, right?
Some people will hit you. Yes, Draymond.
I seen people block knocked off for doing shit like that in basketball. So some people saying, "Oh, you just being hard on Angel." No, I'm not. I'm just saying, based on what I've seen out of basketball, like that's a fucking no-go. That's a no-go. Just saying.
But again, look at the conversation about it. Like, I think a big piece of it was like, oh shit, like the women's sports is intense. Like it added to the intensity, and I think that that's part of like what's promoting it now. So I'm for it. Whatever brings attention and excitement to women's sports, because we didn't traditionally grow up watching women's sports aside from tennis. Like, I mean, I played tennis, but like, so of course you watch women play tennis. But I think that the intensity and excitement is exactly what women's sports needs. By any means necessary.
I don't agree. I think women's sports needs to just be good. I don't want to watch and you're missing 10,000 layups.
So it hasn't been good all this time? You're saying it hasn't been good?
Overall, no. The WNBA overall is a bad product because, and I'll give a reference point. In the All-Star game took place last weekend. They showed Brittany Griner get a breakaway dunk. And I said in the comment section, and I got some pushback. That looks like a freaking sophomore. A sophomore on freshman team dunking the ball. And Brittany Griner is 6'8", and I've met her before. She's big as shit, big ass hands. That looked like some bullshit. So you gonna sit here and tell me that's good basketball? No, it's not. You and that's an ESPN highlight. So one or two things gotta be true. Either that's the apex of women's sports, or B, that's a way worse version of men's basketball. So with that being said, you can't make me like that. You can't make me like that. It was a one-hand stiff dunk. Oh, it was terrible. You can't force me to like that when in my lived life, I can see in 10th grade, everybody was doing that. You can't tell me that's good at the highest level. You can't tell me that. My eyes have seen basketball.
Yeah.
And this coming from the guy who I hate these current guys with all these skills, all this right here. But so I got smoke for men too. But you're not gonna tell me this one-arm stiff dunk is good.
And again, I feel like some of it is, like I said, I want women's sports to be successful. I found the NCAA women's tournament to be exciting this year. Like I'm not big into college sports as I probably should be, but again, the media's portrayal of things is serving an agenda, a political agenda to, again, like empowerment of women, which obviously I'm for empowerment of women, but it's just like it's hard to make this change of something we've been doing for so long, for centuries, male-dominated sports, and just be like, hey guys, now you're gonna watch this, and I want you to pretend like it's as exciting as what you've been watching.
Right. Like, people are not stupid. Like, we're not stupid. So we're not gonna sit here and pretend with WNBA rose goggles that that was incredible. No. Like Buddy said. He said 10th grade. Let me see the comment. He was doing that in 7th grade. Yes, I had 7th graders who could dunk when I was coaching back in 2014. I had 7th graders who could dunk. Yes, and it looked better than that Brittany Griner.
I mean, but is there not something to be said for the fact that it's like a woman doing it, even though she is big as shit? I've seen her in person too.
She's big as shit. She's like a dinosaur, like Reptar.
He's from Houston, so but
right. I got love for BG, but I'm not gonna sit here and lie just because you're a woman, because again, the spirit that you get from those WNBA players, they be talking that shit like they're better than the NBA players. I had Cynthia Cooper on the channel. Cynthia Cooper would not ever acquiesce that she's worse than men basketball players, because I've seen it in person. When she coached at Prairie View, she would call dudes out all the time. And Cooper's like the Jordan of females. Where I part with her is thinking that she's better than a bench player on the NBA. She's not. But in her mind, she is. And I'm not mad at her for that, because Cooper's great in her own right. And I appreciate her for that. But Coop can hoop. I'm not going to listen to Cynthia Pooper with some other motherfucker who I ain't never heard of, who talking this shit, and I'm watching you missing wide open layups and shit. You know what I'm saying? No athleticism.
Yeah.
I ain't going. I'm sorry. I'm not going to pretend that's enjoyable when I'm watching it. It's literally worse basketball. I'm not going to pretend I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there just needs to be that level of competition, intensity, excitement, showmanship. I think that WNBA can definitely capitalize that, but they need to do it like right now.
Yes. The WNBA just humble themselves and just go out there and hoop. Stop promoting this LGBTQ shit and just go hoop.
I mean, a lot of their players are that though, so you
Fair
can't
enough.
knock it.
Okay, so you're trying to ingratiate yourself with people who don't identify in their market. So what's sensible to convert people over to watch your product?
I definitely understand your point.
I just want to go watch some female hoopers ball out.
Yeah.
That's all I care about. I don't care about none of that extra shit.
Again, kind of the consensus of most of our talks tonight have been like, keep the sports about sports. Like, you know, I don't want to get like the headline or whatever of like shut up and play. Like, I'm not saying that. You're definitely entitled to speak out and use your platform in the best way possible. At the same time, like, I tune into sports too. I don't care about the gossip. I don't care about the agendas. I care about sports.
I'll say it for you. Shut up and play basketball. I don't give a fuck about your political leanings. I don't care about what your life is going on with your life, what your introspective thoughts are. I want you to play basketball. I'm watching the NBA to watch you play basketball. Nothing else. I don't care about Black Lives Matter and all this shit. I don't care. I want you to go hoop. That's what I want. I didn't like Jordan because Jordan had these views. Jordan was the most stoic person who never talked about nothing like that. And again, I'm not a Jordan fan, but I appreciate Jordan for what he was. Kobe, same way. I don't need all this extra stuff because I don't know who's putting a battery in your back. I don't know what company is putting some shillings in your pockets to say this. I don't know. I don't know your affiliation. Because believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, listening audience, when these players say these certain things, there's a battery in their back. It's not just them, right? So I'd rather just go off the merit of your skill and what you do. That's all I care about. I don't care about you promoting this and promoting that. It matters not. It matters not. I mean, I know that the Black Lives Matter thing is very important to a lot of people, and you ain't got to comment on this, but when you look up what that actually is, Lord have mercy. If you're a heterosexual male, it ain't got nothing for you. Lord have mercy. Did you see the manifesto? They wrote it out, and they said everything but heterosexual black men was what they were doing. So I mean, yo, what we doing here? God damn it! It's shout out to Ovi and Thomas putting 4 on it. You know what that gets you over here. Again, Holly, I ain't trying to put you in the spot, but I'm I'm talk that shit. All right, so but anyway, Ovian dropping their 4 on it. Let's go.
You know what I mean, boy? Yeah. Money. Yeah. Money. Yeah.
Appreciate you, man. It bring $1 bill out of AJ Johnson. Rest in peace to both of those brothers. So yeah, man. So again, I don't want to go too deep into that, which I don't mind, but I don't want to put you in the spot. So no worries. But yeah, I can go way into that. But at the end of the day, like you just said, keep the sports about the sports, and then everything else will come after. Nick Simmons say lower the rim. What's your opinion about lowering the rim for women's sports, women's basketball for that matter?
Lower the rim. Oh my gosh. No, I'm not gonna say that. Then that's a whole other. I hadn't even heard that before, but
You never
I
heard
wouldn't
that?
say that. I think they need to run hot with these new personalities that they have right now and capitalize on that. So
Okay. Well,
as
I would
far
say
as our original topic though, the Malika Andrews, the Molly Karams, those I can definitely do without. Like, you don't have to, you're in a man's arena. Like, know your audience. I know my audience. I have 90% male audience. Like, I'm not gonna start like wearing potato sacks and doing Instagram lives and like I'm not about and talking about the Me Too movement. I'm not like, know your audience.
Listen, Derrick Jackson knew his audience. It was 99% women, and he played that good old game. And even though he's still getting messed up and divorced, he's still sticking to his audience. Listen, man, like a smart coach told me years ago, KYP, man, know your personnel. Know your personnel. God damn it. Now, mine is mostly men, and I have a men-centric standpoint. I won't default from that. I don't blame you for having a woman-centric standpoint. You're a woman. You're supposed to. So what I don't do over here is placate to bullshit. Like, man, the world is the world, man. Like I know some people want like the best scenario, and I guess the biggest thing we've seen with this Carly, forget her last name, situation. Some people want to go the mental health route. People like me, it's like, no, she just a lying motherfucker who got caught being a liar, right? But I understand both schools of thought. I'm over here with it though. Like you can say what you want to say. You can pawn it off on mental health, no problem. Just like with school shooters, I'm not with that. Oh well, he had this mental issue. No. You decided to end people's lives deliberately. You get no sympathy from me, like the Dylan Roofs of the world and all that. No. You should put them in the dirt, in my opinion. I know we're going kind of far in that, but like I'm pretty consistent with stuff like that. No matter if it's white or black or whatever. I'm consistent. So it's them now. Hey man, go and get out there. You say, hey, nah. Hey, I met Mark Curry. He's a great guy, but nah, man, Coop, man. I'm team Coop, man. Don't get it twisted. Like I'm, like I'm against WNBA. I'm just against this new age WNBA. I ain't fucking with it at all. Just saying. Let's see. Oh, Azriel. Okay, my bad, Azriel. Shit, I said your government. Let's see. That's why I fuck with Hoop, man. After politics, man. Straight up, bro. Straight up. Shout out to the Pope again, man. It's a big deal. The lowest rim. Yeah, I mean, listen. There's a thing going on now with like short dudes. They play on like 8-foot rims, and they're having the time of their lives. Like dunking on people. People like action. I don't know, Holly, man. Go and bring me back in, man. I know I went way left, man. Go on, bring me back.
Yeah, you like. I mean, I was following, like, but no, and I would say, like, at the end of the day, we're talking sports and we're talking competition. There really is no equal. The reason that people are fighting so hard, not just because, like, probably half the country doesn't support LGBTQ or whatever, but like people are fighting hard against like trans people playing trans, I guess, men, I don't know, playing women's sports, like, because the physical, in most cases, it's not equal. Like women, I feel like women are the stronger sex. That's just my opinion. However, physically, men are the stronger sex. And that's the basis for athletic competition. So,
how do you feel that?
Like,
no, I can't let you get away with that.
Again,
on what basis?
Know your
audience. On what
audience.
basis? Talk to me. Talk to me. On what basis?
Why are women the stronger sex?
Yeah.
Because we've had to endure way more for way longer, and not just obviously as across from race. Like women, we've always had to be like subservient, but then we have to be on our own now, and now we're supposed to be independent, so we've been thrust into something else, and it's like we've had to endure things for longer. Like, when did women's suffrage even come into existence? Like, what, like maybe 100 years we've had the right to vote or something? I don't know.
How does that make y'all stronger, though? Is my point.
Huh?
How does that make y'all stronger?
Because we've had to endure more, so we take more shit than anybody else.
Okay. So enduring a lot of stuff makes you strong.
Absolutely.
Okay. Or does it just make you endure a lot of shit?
No, it makes us stronger. Like, if we got to like a relationship type of conversation, like women can go through more things with a man than a man can with a woman.
Holly, Zen Master summed it right there. The world has shown you who dominates society. Like, stop it.
We are mentally, we are the stronger sex.
Literally, if a man and woman got into conflict in the streets, who do you think they're gonna hold back first? If Holly Heat and Hoop Jargon got into it on the streets, who do you think somebody gonna come grab first?
Who are they going to grab? Because they have this like notion that women are more emotional. Well, we are more emotional, but okay, that's not really like a true example. I'm just saying that like women, because we have had to like be subservient for so long and go through so much and put up with so much. Like we built a thicker skin, kind of like how Hoop Jargon group had developed my thick skin after getting roasted day in and day out. Here, I developed a thicker skin, and it's the same thing with women.
But
y'all
so
couldn't
the
go
sentiment,
through the things that we go through. Y'all would be ready to jump from the top of a building.
Yo, great example. So what, when we had that meme culture, when we got on women, was the sentiment like y'all being bullies when going against another guy? Was it not different from a perception standpoint, like why y'all going with this woman? And I'll keep her name out of this, but we went hard on this one chick, and the sentiment was like, why y'all going hard?
I think it's me. Now I think the one chick is me.
It was you. Like you definitely got that work too, but it was somebody else too. V got that work too.
Yeah, V. Yeah.
Right. So, but that same shit wasn't given to like when people went hard on Alex, right? People going hard on other dudes. It's like it's not the same because we're not the same in every part of life. And listen, I'm gonna give you some. I'm gonna give you a little bit of clemency. Shout out to my guy, the Pope, said women can hold humans in their belly for 10 months. Cool. They can push out people. Cool. All right. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like that's a strong thing that women have, and that's to be appreciated, to be respected.
I'm not even giving the biological sense any merit. Like, okay, if it were the opposite, men would just have baby. Okay, fine, it's biological. I'm not even giving.
I'll give y'all something because it ain't nothing nowhere else you can go.
Yeah, I'm not giving that any merit. I'm saying mentally, I feel like we are the stronger sex because we endure more. But go ahead.
You know how difficult it is to be a man. Like, I'm gonna say it this way.
I don't.
In the man world, it's dominated by a lot of alpha mentality. And by alpha mentality is you say one more thing to me, I'm gonna slap the shit out you. In the girl world, does that happen? Yes. Does it happen in the same clip? Absolutely fucking not. So what you learn is discernment. You learn of what level you can speak to someone and in what capacity into where you're willing to take it to. Because in men world, you can take that to death. In girl world, hair pulling, little punch, hair pull, somebody break it up. That's the long and short of it. In men world, you gotta take it to death if that's where you want to take it to, right? So from a wherewithal standpoint, men, you're also expected to be at the top. You're expected, like you mentioned relationships. You're expected to provide. You're expected to protect. Somebody breaking the house, it's not like, hey, baby girl, go handle that. No, that's not expectation, right? So from a strength standpoint, now if you want, again, if your point is just long suffering, okay, you can have that, but that's just kind of a that's a like you said, a subservient mentality, and that's kind of what I get on black folks about, like just having long suffering. I mean that's cool, but when you start playing offense, if you can't play offense and everything's defense, that doesn't mean strength. That just means you're a survivor, basically.
So surviving isn't indicative of strength.
It is basically a indication that you can just move in the margins, as it were. That doesn't mean you're strong.
And you're talking about men and like the end result of, like, I guess the end result of conflict with other men being like, okay, we're gonna take it to the death like it's like a coliseum, you know, fight. Like, but women, we are disrespected, objectified,
You sound like a victim.
subservient to people that are supposed to love us. Like,
You
you're
sound like a
talking
victim,
about
Holly.
like random conflicts with other people, but we suffer at the hands of the people that are supposed to love us.
So how does that make you
Whether-
strong? How
Huh?
does suffering make you strong?
What do you? Because it makes you have a thick skin, and so you learn to survive. You keep going on and on. But it's like the men can't do. So I'm not a proponent for women cheating back. Okay, like I'll just say that, having been a woman who has cheated back, it's never the same for the woman. The woman gets a bad, you know, rap for it, even though she probably did 1/3, 1/4 of what the man did to her, and she gets a bad rap for it. But I'm not a proponent of women cheating back because it's not the same. Just like we're talking about men's and women's sports is not the same. It's not the same. Men can't handle the same women cheating back. They're gonna
Apply to
fucking
sports,
kill
Holly.
themselves.
Apply to
Or
sports,
her.
Holly. Apply to sports. If the men played in WNBA, what do you think's gonna happen?
If men played it, that doesn't even make sense. Why would the men play in the WNBA?
Let's say they did. Let's say that let's say some guys who just aren't on NBA contracts want to identify as women and they played in the WNBA. What do you think's gonna happen?
I already said that men are stronger physically. I'm talking about mentally and emotionally. I feel
I
like,
think that they're better basketball players in every capacity. Faster, stronger.
yes, absolutely. Men are way better at physical tasks than women are.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Let's move forward. Okay. So you talking about again? It seems like here's where a lot of y'all mess up here. Y'all think victimhood is strength, and it's not. Dominance is strength. When you go and you establish culture, you establish places where, and you know what, we're going left, but it's cool. We're here. When you establish societies, when you establish networks, commerce, that's strength. When you have the infrastructure to make these things, that's strength. Not just being a part of it and just kind of parsing how you are. Here's what women's strength is. You ready?
I don't think so.
Social contract. That's where women's strength is. Meaning that dudes know that it's just a line you don't cross to do the certain to do the women. There's a certain line you just don't cross. Like if a girl hits you, society says you don't hit her back, right? But if we're going from equality standpoint, if a girl hits you, it doesn't matter how hard she hit you. The rules of the streets is you deck that motherfucker, right? You put her on the ground. But guys have a thing called restraint because social contract says you don't just lay a girl out, no matter how if she hit you first, so on and so forward, right? And I think a lot of women, y'all really don't understand the fact that dudes play nice off a social contract. And social contract is like, man, listen, if I just felt like putting you through the wall, I could, but I don't. And I think if women respected that, yeah, you would kind of see that the strength argument is it's nothing. It doesn't mean anything. Me personally.
I would say that there are plenty of women out there that could say that they have been put through the wall or they have been, you know, victims of domestic violence and
Right.
sexual violence. So
How's that make you strong though? That's my point.
What?
How's that make you stronger?
Because we're still able to love even after that.
See that's that feeling things, and I just don't think that means strength.
Okay, well,
that's a
what
feeling
means
thing.
strength to you then?
I just said domination, providing, presiding, and just overseeing things. That's strength. I mean, the world has shown it to be so.
And women women are the primary caregivers to their children, and they they still go on and are mothers and providers and all of
It's a
that. I
beautiful
don't know what
thing.
you mean by dominators. What do you want them to? What exactly do you want them to dominate? And what
Society.
examples can you give of men being dominators?
You got to have a scoreboard in life. You can't go off of, because I can raise children, I'm stronger than men. Like that makes no sense. Your statement was women are stronger than men. So I'm just trying to see where your logic.
Yes, mentally and emotionally, physically, we're not stronger than men. But mentally and emotionally, I feel like because of our ability to endure more obstacles in life, setbacks in life, I think we are.
Women are more likely to be on antidepressants because of you can't take.
No, women are more likely to go seek mental help.
You're more likely to be on antidepressants.
Because we are more likely to go seek professional help.
Right. So this strong will you're talking about, you go and try to get it curtailed because you can't handle it.
It's not curtailing that. It's curtailing the things that are holding us back, so we go seek help. And that we know how to take help.
And y'all still can't deal with it. And you go and get those antidepressants.
I don't know.
Help should just be good advice. Good advice, and then you should be straight.
If men weren't physically stronger, if we were the same, like
we're not though.
We're not. And I'm not gonna.
If my auntie had a dick, she'd be my uncle.
Okay. I mean, and that's fair. I'm not, like I said, at the end of the day, I'm a sports fan. So I definitely get the whole, like, it is what it, hey, men and women were completely different. Who puts scores on who puts points on the board, who doesn't, like, I get it. All I'm saying is that I think our ability to endure things has made us stronger. And if we were physically equal, except for our mentality, I feel like women would be more dominant than men. And also, I mean, I'm not gonna go down like the religious rabbit hole, but like just the whole subservient nature of women in general, that we're like a rib, we were, taken from a man and created, makes us like automatically just like lesser than. And I mean, obviously I don't subscribe to that. So
all I'm gonna say is, listen, man, men and women are a perfect complement. And that's the beauty of what we both are. Men are, since the dawn of time, are the progenitors of society. It's irrefutable. So, with that being said, do women have strength in the sense of not being as strong? Yes, because there's different ways you can go about being valuable without being stronger. But if the charge is who's stronger, we got a whole freaking, we have eons of examples to show what the dominant species is. It's just, there's no way you could turn to make a case for that. So that's what all I'm saying. So, but again, I got respect for women for the strength that women have. But I'm not gonna say women are stronger than dudes. There's no proof. There's literally no proof. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, well, I guarantee you that if your significant other went out and cheated on you, it wouldn't be the same as you cheating on her. You would
not because. Go ahead. I like this because this is like a phone conversation with me and you, and we have this online, so it's all good. This is how me and you were talking on the phone. So this is what's up.
You would lose your shit. That's all I'm saying. As in, women, we like expect it. We're like, okay, he cheated. Okay, he's a man.
No, you guys are way more emotional. We're more prideful. To your point, we're more prideful, but you guys are way more emotional.
We're less likely to commit suicide behind some shit like that than you
right, because that's the pride thing. So yes, we're way more prideful.
And pride is a downfall.
It's called hubris. Yes. So men are way more susceptible to hubris. Yes, you're absolutely right. Women, you guys are more susceptible to emotionality, and that affects the way you think. You think emotion-based first. You're not as logical as men, and that's what messes y'all up. Because
I'm
I feel the first thing come out your mouth to ask about a question. Oh, I feel like this. I feel like that. Because your emotion part of your brain takes precedence over the logical part of your brain.
We are more emotional creatures. I'm not going to sit up here and say that we're
course you are.
not. We're not. I'm not going to say that. I just think that like our actions after the fact, yeah, we may articulate our points in an emotional manner, but I feel like the aftermath or going forward, we're more able to rebuild, get recentered than a man is. Because a woman cheats on a man or something, or damages a man, like he's scarred for life. Whereas women, we just kind of like go on.
Men when men get cheated on, man, most likely than not, you go get another chick, man. It's again, we're not as emotional. So again, is your ego get hit? The first time your ego get hit, yeah, it's very taxing. Coming from a person who got cheated on, I was like, damn. I mean, I could cheat all day. She cheated on me. I'm like, oh shit. Like it was crushing. But you know what though? I started hopping on hoes after that, right? Because
exactly. You went to your emotional crutch, which was hoeing.
Okay, but I'm not gonna sit there and wallow in the hurt.
Just because you don't wallow, that doesn't mean that you're not weak. You still went and you outsourced your happiness on hoes.
Okay, so what's the right way to respond to that?
Grow as a person.
How? Okay.
Grow, work on yourself. Like you don't have to go find another. Go get pleasure from the next person. I mean, I believe anybody that kind of like outsource it. I call it outsourcing your happiness. It's a weakness to me in general. I'm not. I mean.
Okay, so what if I said that I went and I enjoyed going out and seeking other men's daughters, and it was perfectly fine for me.
That you just enjoy that in general?
Yeah. And
not as a reaction to anything?
No, so I actually forgave her after that, you know, when it actually happened. But then when the relationship was over, shit, I went and go enjoy some hoes. Yeah,
but that's not. I mean, that's just like you being free of a relationship and wanting. I mean, that's anybody that gets out of a relationship, especially where it wasn't healthy. Like, yeah, you're gonna go enjoy yourself. That's
right. So going back to men and women not being the same, y'all's chastity is not the same as us, you know, in what we do. So, smart man once said, huh?
I said, unfortunately, not.
Yeah. Once a smart man once said, a master lock can unlock many, a master key unlock many locks. A shitty lock, any lock can open that bitch up. So it's just different. It's different.
It is different, and I'm not going to be different. I'm not going to be the one to sit up here and like advocate for this. Like, oh my gosh, we need to like change everything. Like it's going to change overnight. Yes.
I like, but this is gone. This is crazy. This is gone so left. But it's good. Everybody watching.
It has gone so left. Because
I want you to get your shit off though. I want you to say your perspective because again, I think it's horseshit. But that's how you view what you view, and I think that it's valuable to say. I think it's valuable to say. You can share your perspective. Like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, because the reality is people gonna watch it. Some people gonna agree with me. Some people gonna agree with you. That's just reality. All we're doing is just, you know, having a healthy debate.
Yeah, and I think we had agreed on too many things tonight also. So it's merely par for the course that we find a point of contention, like something to really, really dig in about.
Yeah, but this is good though. This is a good conversation. I mean, you know, hell, this is a nice organic flow. But again, I just to kind of capstone, I guess my point. If you say men and women stronger, like there's no, it's no example at all that women are stronger.
Well, I'm stronger than most of the men I know. So.
You stronger than most men? Well, I mean.
Emotionally, again, I'm not talking physically. So.
Just may have an ego, but yeah, they say. Pope says only if you're not in love. No, I was in love when I was doing that. No, that's not true. Zen says, "Oh, gotta eat too hot." Stupid, bro. Pope says, "How many men can take on raising multiple kids by themselves?" Well, one cat that I know very well on YouTube, Little Big Nate, who actually got a divorce from his wife, fought for custody for both his kids, which he raised since they was 5 and 3 years old. His boy is 24. His daughter is 21. So yeah, men can do that with no problem. You do it no problem. So I think
you gave like one example just now. Like
okay.
women, that's like common.
I can keep going.
Like, oh, he had a child outside of our hell. It happened to me. I wasn't married at the time, but like I found out about it. Somebody had a baby.
I can keep going. Another cat on YouTube, Bernard Riley, got divorced, raising both of his sons by himself. Now he has a girlfriend he lives with, apparently with his story. My best friend Sammy raised 3 kids on his own. Well, little Sammy for the most part by himself, but his other 2 kids sharing custody, easy. Another example, my boy Ron, my childhood friend Ron. Before he got married like a year ago, to raise his first son. I call him Gramps because he an old ass looking little young kid. I'm like, bro, you the oldest looking young kid I see in my life. I call him Gramps. Ron did it by himself, no problem. I keep going.
I think it's commonplace for women over time, over centuries.
But because you're awarded custody. It's not because you're the better parent. It's because you're awarded custody.
There is a biological difference with men, though. Like aside from like the physical biological difference, I guess there's like this always in the back of a man's mind. He like questions whether or not the child is actually his, like because he didn't have the child.
Because hoes be out here fucking multiple niggas. Yeah, yeah.
All I'm saying is that
friends who found out their kid's not theirs.
Since I won't say the dawn of time, because time has been going on long before Homo sapiens made their rise to greatness here on planet Earth. But like this, like women have been doing this for ever. We
yeah. And I, you know what? I'm gonna show you a video. It's from the 80s. There's these young females was asking about, do you want to be with your child's father? And the consensus was they don't, because they think they can be a good single mother. So you can't brag about what you choose to do. Now, in every case, I'm not saying that, a dude ain't do you dirty. I'm not saying that don't exist, because it does exist. We all know this. But there's also situations where you choose to be a single mother, i.e., you leverage the kid to get back at a failed relationship with a guy. That happens a lot too.
It does happen.
So I can't just go with that trope that we've been doing it forever. Well, sometimes it's on your own volition.
Yeah, but a lot of women get left, or they have to leave situations in which they're not being treated right, or mainly they get left, or they're not being treated right, and what treated right has changed over time too. Like now we know like a lot of attitudes and things are toxic, what we call toxic now, that were commonplace like in our parents' age. So, and even before that, it's like evolved over time on what's healthy and what's not healthy. So I don't think like women want to be these strong, independent, single women. I think it's like we've been given a choice between going through shit and like maybe going through shit, but like not as much. And so we're like, oh, I'm gonna take this option.
Or you don't have proper counsel and you're just going by the loop of your belt to figure things out. Meaning you don't have proper advisement, so you're just going as you go along. And it may not be the best method to go about raising kids, because now I this is not your realm, but black kids raised by single mothers are the least performing people out here. So the idea of single motherhood is proven to fail. Proven to fail.
I think one LeBron James would think differently.
Well, LeBron James is an anomaly. See, and this is what women do. Y'all use an anomaly and act like we don't have a litany.
And I'm saying that in jest, just because like I know you're not a big LeBron James guy.
I mean, he's a great success. I like LeBron James, the person, but him, the player, and his horse shit, acting like he reading books he don't read. No, I don't like him. But I think he's the ultimate success story. You know how bad his mother did him? Like, was going out like, I don't want to disparage his mother, but I'll say this. His mother was putting him through a lot, man. For him to make it, he is the ultimate success story, man. So LeBron gets all the credit for me in that capacity.
Well, like I say, I'm not going to change my opinion. I hear you. I still gotta go with like team female on like a strength, not physical, but a mental and emotional perspective.
I get it, man. But the proof is literally in the pudding. The proof is literally in the studies. And I would say this, y'all, for those who want to see what I'm talking about, it's called 1986 special report, the Vanishing Black Family. They sat down with these chicks who was 16 to 18 years old, I believe, and they asked them, how do you view single motherhood? And they wanted to be single mothers for the most part.
Again, because what they had been shown to be a relationship or family is not ideal to them. You know, it might be starting to become ideal now, maybe, but like in general, I mean, I've been single for 8 years, so I am not a huge proponent of like relationships because I do believe in internal happiness. I don't outsource my happiness. So I'm not bringing anybody into my fold that is not going to add to my happiness or at least keep me the same level.
So here's my counter to that. You know, successful societies have strong families. So what you find is people who care about personal happiness over family structure generally have chaotic results.
I mean, I'm not going to say.
I used to be a teacher. You know what? The worst kids we had were single mother raised kids because it's not a good idea. I'm just saying, I'm not saying women are bad. I'm just saying that construct it's a bad idea. Our strongest kids were 2-parent household kids. That's just facts. That's why Deion Sanders said, my smartest kids I want on my team, I want from 2-parent households. My dogs I want from single-parent households. Why is that? Because they're more chaotic driven, they're more dogs, they're more hungry. Come on, we all know this.
No, I'm not saying that's not true. Obviously, like I advocate for 2-parent households, but if it's a 2-parent household that's like extremely like abusive and detrimental to mental.
Well, why deduce it down to the worst thing though? Why so that's kind of like scarcity and fear theory. Meaning, I'm going to argue the worst case scenario. Why not argue just normal case scenarios where you probably meet a normal person and you can cohabitate with a normal person? Pope, I can't holler at your comments, bro. You know you my dog, boy. You want some sim shit? I can't do it, bro. I'm sorry.
I couldn't even read it. It's too small.
No, he's advocating in your behalf. I can't do that, man.
You should have read it then.
Bro. But look, it's just we have observable results to go off of. Again, I'm a former teacher, man. I see how these housing structures go and how kids develop based on what you give them. And again, from what we're speaking about, if women are so great raising kids by themselves, the results say that the kids don't do well. And I'm not
saying that I advocate for a 1-parent household. Of course, I advocate for a 2-parent household, but not like a bad 2-parent household. I had a 2-parent household for a while as a kid, and I hoped my parents would get divorced. That's how bad it was. So it's like, it's
Do
not
you
like
make
the end
room?
all be all.
Do you make room for the fact that your experience has kind of given you a negative connotation of a family structure?
Yes and no. I feel like I know equally as many people that are from single parent households as well. Like, and I consider myself from a single parent household because my parents weren't together when I was very young. But obviously our life experiences shape our worldview. I mean,
Absolutely.
but I know people that are from both, and I know shitty people from from both types. I don't think it's like an end all be all like solution. I understand you're like referencing some 80s, study and
It's probably worse now.
huh?
Really, city girl culture, it's probably worse now.
Oh,
We're talking
no,
about
and I'm not
1986.
advocating for city girl culture either. Like, I'm not. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just simply saying that, like, health and happiness, I don't necessarily feel like it's subjective. Like, I feel like either you feel happy about stuff or you don't. And if you're not generally happy, it's probably not for you. So if you're growing up in an environment that's not happy, it's probably not good for you.
Well, you can say that about households where parents force you to, into a career, right? So you're not filling out your best happiness. It's not always about your happiness. It's about structure for the most part. And the most thriving societies have structure, and it's not always about your personal happiness. And I think the most chaotic situations is always about, oh, I'm not happy. You leave a good relationship just because you're not getting that same feeling you felt on the front end with that, what they call the infatuation stage, right? You're not going to always have that. And in my opinion,
Yeah, but that's something different. Again, that's like the instant gratification. Like,
I would say it's the same thing, because you keep trying to usurp that same notion. In reality, you're not going to keep having that. It's going to get more mundane. That's called being, loyal. That's called, having wherewithal. We used that word earlier. That's where long relationships are built on. It's not just every day is happy. You don't get happiness every day. What you do is get commitment. You get trust. You get you trudge on through with a person who you deem as a person that you're going to go through the mud with. Problem is, some people never go through the mud with anybody. You just keep switching partners. You jump off the ride when the ride ain't fun no more. And that's the biggest problem in our society.
Yeah. I would agree with you there. Like, people are again, I don't believe in depending on anybody else for like my happiness. Like, so I'm with you on that. But again, overall, I agree to disagree with you.
Fair enough.
On the larger point.
Well, all I'm saying is this society, in my opinion, is a lack of structure. It's a lack of integrity. And it's just like, oh, well, there's always going to be something around the corner. Always something around the corner. Something around the corner. You wake up, you're 50 years old, and you got nothing, right? And I think if people just had more scope and more understanding that we're better together, it produces better results. It produces better results.
It does. I would absolutely agree with you there. I think partnership is a huge part of success. Successful, relationships, marriages, families. I definitely agree with you there.
That's it. So if we're going to fix a society, we got to understand the strengths and weaknesses of both sexes. So to kind of bring it all back to a head. Listen, in every strong society, I know people hate this word, it's a patriarchal driven thing. It just is. It just is. The whole world, you can search the whole world over. Now, you can personally not like that, no problem. But I mean, a rational person looks at results and you derive what's good, what's bad, right? And when we look into that, I think when people just respect the natural order of things, you'll tend to get better results. Because I look at the Asians, that's how they roll. I look at the Hispanics for the most part, that's how they roll. I look at the Indians, that's definitely how they roll. Iranians, that's definitely how they roll. Africans, that's definitely how they roll, right? I'm gonna look and see what works. Just saying. Just saying. So to bring it out to head, yeah. That's my assertion of like the stronger of the two. But again, I don't think it should be a competition because it's not one. What it should be is just respecting the strengths and weaknesses of both. And you making the shit work. That's the best thing. That's the best way to go about it. Let me put it that way. Y'all give me all this good game right here. And Holly coming in and sharing her perspective. Super chat, Cash App, a like, something, God dog it. We done took a left turn and we giving y'all some relations.
Look, I'm looking at the clock like.
Damn it. Go ahead, Holly.
I'm looking at the clock like it's
yeah, I know. Yeah, you know Houston time.
Almost 11. I'm a single mom. I gotta wake up for work in the morning.
My bad, Holly. Yeah, so I'm gonna say this too. So Pope said I was raised by strong women, 6 aunties. So I know I wasn't bitter baby mamas. They left the door open for dads. Yeah, I mean, listen, man, my family. So I grew up with my father, but overall, it was a matriarchal driven thing, and it's been a mixed bag of results in my family as far as a little older, a little younger. Again, society shows you single matriarchal driven things. It's not the best way to go about it, man. It's just not. Sorry, it's not. There's a study shows that women don't have a father in the home usually get the periods faster. See, I don't know about that. You go into a realm that I have no knowledge on, so I'm gonna stay in my knowledge zone. We're talking about women being strong in different aspects. Yeah, and what I lamented on was the things that the stronger things is more or less. Again, you're playing defense. You're not playing offense. Meaning, just you're strong.
Meaning we need to cheat first.
But it doesn't help y'all out mentally. Like cheating don't help y'all out. That's funny. But
talk about the Tacho, she would agree with that. Cheat first.
Oh shit. No, Pope. So what I'm saying is all these things play into the whole dynamic of strength because the conversation diverted by who's better at raising children. So that was supposed to be a strength. And then we deviated into basically breaking that part down. So that's why we went there. It wasn't, a topic changer, as it were. Women, a lot of time, are chasing the fancy that's not real. Well, I mean, that's women's nature. It's more whimsical. We want to be free. Stupid. The reason behind that study, as mentioned, because they don't know if a father home developed faster, the body is forced to develop faster so they can. Okay, I just need to see more on that. I can't co-sign that unless I get some more on that. So I just, I keep it to what I know. Let me get a few more comments, Holly. I want you to speak one more time, and then we'll peace out. Women's sports ain't shit, but they definitely the stronger beings. Well, I mean, you can feel that way, but no, not at all. In no way, unless, to me, if you mean strength is just you can put up with a lot of shit, that's not strength. The playground, the opposite of the bully, can put up with a lot of shit. They don't make you stronger than the bully. It means you just get your ass whooped. That's not. It's thing called masculine and dominant. Those things permeate through everything in life. Like, no, just because you can take a lot of shit don't make you strong. It means you just take a lot of shit. And moreover, people who are more forthright and who basically what's what I'm looking for? You more you put your will forward, and people will come under your methodology or your strength or whatever you want to parse that out as. That's the stronger person, not the person who's willing to listen and just trudge through the mud. Oh, I got it. In a way, I guess you can call that strong, but if we're being honest, the progenitor of an action is the stronger person. I mean, what are we talking about? Women don't need to be single.
There's a lot of people that would disagree with that. They would say the stronger person is the one that has the ability to show restraint and like just be able to go through it and not lose themselves.
No, so that deals with a person who just doesn't have a domineering personality, but that's with the solid strength thing. So you can be strong and not be the loudest person in the room, but you still lead. It's just you lead in a quiet way. You can look at a guy like Kevin Durant. He ain't got nothing to say, but I'm still a leader, right? But if you're the quietest person in the room and you deal with all this shit and everybody tell you what to do your whole life, that's not strength. It's just you're obedient.
Yeah.
Right. That's not strength. Let me put it this way: the top 1% of this world, they bank hook, line, and sinker for those kind of people. You sit back, you take everything, you question nothing, and you do what you're told. That's how the 1%ers run the world. Literally, is how they run the world. That's how corporations. You get middle management people who just will hook, line, and sinker follow everything you say, everything you do. That's literally what the business model is built on. Not because they're strong, because they'll do what you ask them to do. But from the quiet strength standpoint, that's like a quiet leader is what you're speaking about. And yes, those leaders do exist. Where like it's almost like that 48 laws of power thing, where you sit back and you evaluate everybody, you size everybody up, and you deal accordingly. Most people don't have all those attributes. You just sit back and do what you're told to do. That's literally how the world works, Holly. Like,
I mean, it's not that I'm saying. I do feel like the world I would say it's still very stratified. It is still very stratified, and I'm not saying it's something that would happen overnight or is even like realistic. I'm not even saying that. I feel like there's a lot of things that we talk about that are just not realistic at all. But yeah.
Fair enough. I'm just saying that the world runs off obedient people. And obedience is you sitting back and you don't ever assert yourself. You just do your time, you check out. When we talking about a lifespan, or we talking about your work life, and you check out. That by definition is not strength. That's just you're obedient. That's just real shit.
I mean, I wouldn't call it obedience. I wouldn't call it obedience that women.
Why not? Do what you're told to do.
Trying to circle back to like this, like because we've been downtrodden and whatever, that like we're obviously not obedient because like now we're off on our own and we're not trying to put up with the same shit that we have for centuries. So that's not. I don't think you're equating it to that, but. But I do have to work in the morning, and
yeah, you know your things. All right, man, it's a riveting conversation for sure. All right, Holly, I appreciate you giving me your time. We went 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and I know. Appreciate you. I really do.
I appreciate you having me. Please make sure you put my my Instagram down there. I pretty much run everything through my Instagram. So Holly Heat.
Just Holly Heat straight out.
Huh?
It's Holly Heat straight out.
Yeah, I finally got my name from the ferret lady. There was a Holly Heat. She had a bunch of ferrets, and finally she gave up her name, and now I'm just Holly Heat.
Nice,
great,
nice. So I got it, guys. Go follow Holly, man. It's been a homie since 2015 and beyond. So when we do this, we always argue like all the time. Like this is pretty.
And our birthdays are close together too.
Right. We had a joint birthday party together before, so believe it or not.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you, Holly. At any rate, as Real said, y'all should do this again. This is fun. So you know what? We should have a man versus woman talk, and not in a combative way, just in a sharing perspective way.
Oh no, I don't know. You know what? If you have Tacho on, I'll come on with Tacho, and then you can pick somebody else.
Why you gotta have Tacho with you?
Because she's very she's the extra punch there.
You know, it's funny.
I don't even like debating about stuff like that. I'm actually a very submissive woman.
Fair enough. Well, you know, when Tacho came down here to LA, we had the same debate, and I destroyed her, but whatever. So
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
All right.
I'll circle back. We'll circle back.
Yeah, let's circle back. So I appreciate you so much, Holly. And so until next time, we will check y'all out. And y'all, again, go follow her at Holly Heat on all social media platforms. She has a great platform. I always tell her to do more content, her lazy ass, but, you know, it is what it is. All right, man. Go get to work. Appreciate you.
All right.
All right. Peace out.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right.